Hello everybody and welcome to Conservatoire Conversations episode 4. Today we are very kindly joined by Susie Mészáros. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So Susie, we've been reading your biography, which is always I think a nice way to start. Two things that stuck out. It mentioned that you had a debut with Menuhin, the violinist at Wigmore Hall.
Yes, that's right. I played, when I was 17, I played a Mozart duo at the Wigmore Hall with him.
Oh my word!
Which Mozart?
The G major.
The G major.
The G major.
I mean, what it was the debut at Wigmore, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your debut.
Well, it was I'm sure we played at the Wigmore with the school, but I'd never played a solo with him. Although I'd had loads of lessons with him. He was a very familiar presence at the school.
Wow.
So I'd have lessons with him. You know, whenever he came. In fact, it's quite a nice story with him because. I was a violinist till I was 15 or 16 and then changed to the viola, not forever, but then I changed the viola and I turned up for my lesson with him and I launched into the Walton concerto and he didn't realise that I was going to play a viola. He expected me to play the violin and he went, "Oh, the little girl has grown a beard." Which was very
funny.
sweet, yeah.
Was he a nice guy?
Yes, he was a nice guy. He was very genuine, very kind of wanting to pass on all that he knew. I mean, he did have a lot of hangers-on, and the entourage was kind of annoying because you didn't really have him to yourself. There would be these crawlers and grovelers around him, and people trying to kind of bathe in the light around the great man. But still, we had lots to get from him because he liked the kids. He believed in the school. I think he was very genuine about that. Definitely.
That's very nice. I mean, it's good of him considering his name was on the school.
Yeah,
Help,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'd sort of wished he'd been there more as a teacher. But of course he couldn't because he was still huge career. He was running all over the place.
How old
but I
was
think
he,
in his How
old was he
when he died?
when you played the concert with him?
I wish I knew. Was he 60-something or 70-ish or so?
Right, okay.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah, okay.
But still very, very vital musician.
Yeah.
Also, Nigel Kennedy was at the school and kind of heard Menuhin and Grappelli play together at the school. So that's when Stefan Grappelli turned up with Menuhin, and they played these jazz duets, which was just brilliant.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And Nigel was going, "Oh my God," that sort of turned him onto jazz big time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of something that just sparks an incredible
that's great.
mission in your life or whatever.
Yeah. So we're actually on a course right now, and that's why this isn't actually Susie's house. This is a very fantastic place. It's West Dean. It's not Susie's dining room. So you're part of the Chillingirian Quartet, and you're not one of the founding members, but
No.
you joined a bit
How
after.
dare you think I'm a
I would
founding
never.
member?
Just in case the audience.
No, I'm not a founding member. They went through quite a few viola players, but I was the longest standing violist that they had.
So was there a sort of trial period as to when you were kind of joining?
Funnily enough, I was asked to play a Beethoven series with them, and that was my kind of audition. So we did lots of Beethovens over several days, but I was thinking, well, have I got the job? And Levon phoned me up about something, and then I kind of went, well, am I okay for the quartet? Went, oh yeah, you've got the job. Now, blah, 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 He didn't even bother to tell me that I'd got in. But it felt right straight away. You just get in a group that, is wonderful, musicians that you tune to, that you resonate with, let's say. And our wonderful cellist, Philip de Groot, was certainly the most poetic musician, so we miss him greatly.
Yeah.
Wonderful man. And, it just felt like home going into that quartet.
Yeah.
So it was the great years of my life.
Yeah, I think it's quite a good sign when it's that calm, saying to you that you've gotten the job. That's a good sign, isn't it? Really?
Because obviously, as soon as I went in, it just felt right for everybody. But you don't assume if you're auditioning for something. You just don't assume.
Yeah, there's lots of when you look for like advice and tips on like orchestral auditions, But actually, chamber, you do still have to audition for these groups.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
especially some of the already formed ones that are big names.
Yeah.
How, when you look for, I'm sure you've had to look for a new member for chamber groups. What is it that you are looking for?
You're looking for someone who shares the general philosophy, but one can't be presumptuous either and go, they've got to fit in with us. You learn from every new person that comes in. Otherwise, they're just, they become, in a way, a slave to the old tradition. And the thing is that it is always evolving. The quartet always changes whenever a new member comes in, and it has to. But it's always not an improvement, but it just enriches because it's a history. The group has a history.
Yeah.
You don't sit in the past with that history. You have that past, and you just keep layering new experience, and so it's
definitely a
evolving.
balance,
because actually, you can get quite in a rut if 4 people are together for a very long time. It can become a bit of a habit, and there's just a routine. Not that it's a bad thing, particularly certain routines, but it's great to refresh, so long as the refreshment doesn't pull it in a direction that it doesn't want to go.
Yeah. So you say that there's quite a fine balance as to when you're kind of trialing it. You want to be yourself, so that you want to bring something new, but also you don't want to disturb the piece.
But
that was
that's
there before.
what chamber music is all about. From
true.
every member forever, isn't it? That you are an individual who's receptive and balancing. It's just this wonderful balancing game all the time. Some groups today ask me, how do you deal with disagreement? Because you think it should be this kind of articulation, and your colleague thinks it should be something else, and you go, you have to battle it out. And it's not that you the loudest voice, the loudest shout. It's just eventually, sometimes people go, good point, or the battle continues. But then you go, well, for this we have to decide something. Okay, I don't like what we're doing, but of course we'll do it. So it's not always a happy, yes, we've agreed. It's very often disagreement.
Yeah.
And new things happen in every concert anyway. And suddenly you go, gosh, actually I like that, or wow, what a revelation, I've learnt something new.
Yeah, quite often it can be the plan to do something and maybe you didn't like it, and then suddenly with the concert excitement it becomes something that you didn't expect it to be, and then
and it ought to be like that. Just a moment of time taking, or a new colour change. Sometimes the venue itself is going to pull something different out of the group because of a resonant acoustic, or it's terribly dry, or atmospheric in some way, or the event may have some emotional connection for one.
Yeah, I think that relates quite a lot onto what we're thinking of speaking about next, is advice about staying together, or not staying together. I mean, quite a big thing actually that also isn't discussed is, at what point do you think
give up, it's not working? Well, I think when you're a student, when you're wanting to profit from an experience like being at a college, it's worth just being with the group, because you can gain so much and the opportunities are there. Professionally, after that, I think sometimes I think these things are fairly obvious, because a problem, a corner that's kind of jutting is not going to dissolve. It'll get worse and worse. I think these problems just increase or dissolve on their own. You don't necessarily have to make a big decision. But I think when I studied with Sándor Vég in Salzburg, I found myself in a quartet with 3 people who I liked. The second violinist, the cellist was terribly young and weird. And the first violinist I didn't get on particularly well with, but we all loved our teacher. So we were not a happy group, but it was too good to be studying with Sándor Vég, a great quartet player. It was too much of an opportunity to go, I don't like playing with these people. Never mind, you just go, look, we all need what he's giving us. And the moment we finished studying, that's it, we went off but we all really gained a lot. So I think sometimes you just have to grin and bear it for what you're getting as an educational.
Do you think quartets get better the longer they stay together?
think they often do, but that it can become a bit of a sort of old habit as well.
Yeah.
So you have to really just kind of sometimes look at yourselves and go, that we all do this in the same way because it's kind of expedient. It's a shortcut. You say, we'll just play it like we always do.
Yeah.
Approach it and it's very nice to have.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a very outgoing mind to try and pull yourself away from that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also it's not admitting defeat, but it's wanting to taste something different with the music, isn't it?
And challenge yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because if you feel you're good at something, you're going to tend to, it's a safe road. I do that kind of thing well, so I'll always do it well. And it's great to be challenged. I think that's why chamber music is the greatest education, because you're continually challenged by your partners who will just demand a lot from themselves, from you. So it's one of the best ways, certainly, to develop things like bow technique. I mean, you can smash through a concerto and get away with, so long as you're gorgeous sound, lovely, this, fast fingers, you've got an orchestra that more or less follows you. It's a kind of easy route now with a string quartet. It's always this sort of juggling and balancing all the time.
Yeah.
And the subtleties of trying to get 2 notes articulated in the right way and that you all kind of feel the same. That's a huge challenge. All the great musicians have played chamber music, all of them, and still do. Any great person you can think of has always taken part in chamber music.
Yeah, that's true.
It's sort of the only, especially for students, the only opportunity you get to like critique and listen and become a teacher for someone who isn't just yourself, which I think is almost like how people learn to teach and develop their ear.
I think that's a very good point, that you're not, you're also analysing and sort of, assessing what you're hearing right there. You're not just delivering and being taught. It's that 4-way teaching and learning experience. Very much so.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of some of the abstract outsider kind of things about quartets, but we thought maybe it'd be a good opportunity to get a bit nerdy, considering you do actually play in the Chillingirian quartets. It's quite handy. We're wondering, when it comes to, let's say, you have a very thick passage of intonation, how do you go about working on the intonation? I mean, do you just all play
building up things like building things from in a quartet, building things from, very often intonation is connected with balance and tone, so it's not like that's just out of tune, but you're working colour for 4 people. So I think, think about the sort of the balance of cello to up to first violin, that kind of thing. Do things very slowly and look for the resonance being similar.
Yeah, I never thought about the dynamic, actually. I think when I've done quartet tuning in the past, it's just been tune the note. But
actually, because the thing can topple if somebody is sticking out in the wrong way, it can feel out of tune.
Yeah, I mean, also the intonation can, bend and waver with the pressure, can't it, as well? So then,
and what the left hand may be doing or not doing.
Yeah.
How exactly the right hand, flowing bow is going to be more in tune than something crushed.
That's true. Yeah. Well, actually, when it comes to chamber, I mean, so your teacher that you were speaking about there, that's in Salzburg.
He was in Salzburg.
That led you on to a position we learned with Camerata Salzburg.
The
principal viola there.
It was my first professional job because when I left the Menuhin School, I went briefly to the Royal Academy and I wasn't terribly happy there. But I knew Shandor Weg from Proshakov, which is another great chamber music experience for people. But I hadn't thought, as a violist, to study with a violinist. So we'd played chamber music together, but that was it. And then I was at the Academy, I just felt stuck. I'd been doing great things and suddenly I just felt stuck and I felt like I'd taken several steps back. So I wrote him a letter and saying, I'm really not happy here and I don't know what to do. I don't know. And I got, in the days of telegrams, I got a telegram pretty soon, 2 words, come now. Which was, didn't take long. Unfortunately, I had to pay my scholarship back to the Academy because I got a scholarship. And because it was for a year, but I left after about a couple of terms, I had to pay. So I went with absolutely no money to Salzburg, just enough money to get there. And then, luckily, I auditioned or, whatever for the Camerata Salzburg and got the job as the principal viola. And so I was playing professionally at the age of 19 with my teacher conducting the orchestra, having lessons with him, chambers. It was just a kind of full immersion, touring with the orchestra, with the Camerata. We used to tour all over because during the summer months, during the Salzburg Festival, Herbert von Karajan wouldn't let people like Schandl-Weig and our orchestra anywhere near the Salzburg Festival. Just we were not invited because it was kind of,
His
competition.
rules,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. He was the god. So we did something much better. We toured Italy and had great fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, messing around in beautiful little things. So it was the best 2 years of my life.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It was wonderful.
So you were a leader at 19, did you say?
Leader of a viola section.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was great fun. I didn't feel that I had to lead because it was like a big chamber ensemble, to be honest. And also because my teacher was the conductor, I didn't feel that I had to prove particularly anything to him. So we were just a bunch of friends. It was
That's
easy.
very nice.
It was very, very, very easy.
Yeah. I mean, how much do you feel that the chamber orchestra relates to your playing in a quartet? I mean, does it relate quite a lot as the decision making?
Yes, I think it does, and I think that you have to keep making decisions for your section and between the sections. Chamber orchestra is very chamber, absolutely. I don't know if I could cope or do a particularly good job in a larger orchestra with winds and brass and stuff. I think that's beyond my. Although I did lead Kent Opera Orchestra, so that was a big enough orchestra.
Yeah.
That was years later. It's great.
Yeah. So, when it comes to getting the job, I mean, did you have a trial for the lead? Or was it kind of like
I sort of got it. So yes, I had to. It was like a token trial. I think he wanted me to be the principal viola, and the section were happy enough, and. So
that's
yeah,
fine.
I suppose that's not a great way to get a job, is it? But I kind of fell into it. It wasn't like official audition because there was a principal there already, but I don't know quite how that worked really. But anyway, we were very good team partners. So maybe he was a kind of just for the time being. I think they were looking for the leader of the section because it wasn't like he felt pushed out at all.
That's nice.
We were great colleagues.
So, quite intriguing part is the difference between, well, we're intrigued actually. I think we're both thinking about studying potentially in Germany, but Europe seems like such an attractive option in terms of classical music and that kind of thing. How do you think the Austrian, so Salzburg, versus British approach varies? I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's such a long time ago. And also my particular course, I didn't do a full degree there. I'm not really qualified. I've got a degree in ceramics. I'm more qualified as a ceramicist than I am. I don't have a BA in music or anything. So I did 2 years of a 3-year degree in Salzburg, but basically, because I was in the Camerata, I was forgiven other things that you would normally have to do in an academy or a conservatoire, which was playing in their orchestra. So, I mean, we were a bunch of snobs, really, privileged snobs. So what I got was lots of teaching from him in the academy setting, but that was about it. So I can't tell you much about the course particularly, but people go there a lot, and it's still a very highly regarded. Very cultural city, Mozart, of course. Yeah.
So, what about the orchestral kind of approach within, like, so obviously you've worked there, but you've also worked here. Do you think there's sort of an inbuilt difference into how the orchestras work, or did you?
Not particularly. Not particularly. I mean, it was a very international orchestra, whereas I think some British orchestras are more British, so there might have been differences like that. I did work with chamber orchestras in the UK, but whether it was different because I was just getting older and more in the profession, I don't know.
Potentially,
yeah. Well, we always hear things that like the UK is very well drilled orchestras, so they don't always. Well, some of them misbehave. We've heard that as well, but like the typical British orchestra approach is everybody's very always in the same part of the bow, maybe not playing as loudly as they
and
could.
also, British people are very good sight readers.
Yes.
So that is part of the training that is really good and kind of sought after. There's probably some kind of financial reason for it. A British orchestra can rehearse for 3 hours and then deliver a concert. Now maybe somewhere else it would, that they need more time, but actually that's not a bad thing because you get to know music better.
Yeah, I think the sort of inbuilt approach is maybe a little bit different because they think, what's the money compared to what's the hours?
Yeah.
What's the outcome of the music? How much does that matter when it's the job?
Yeah.
I know these kind of issues.
I think cynicism is everywhere. There can be everywhere, and dedication and a good approach also everywhere. I don't think you can, narrow it down to it's better here, it's better there. I think it's a big mix, really.
To be fair, I think that it kind of slightly ties in with the British personality, doesn't it? I think kind of like the get on with it personality, the kind of
I suppose so. Yeah, just in a very there's a kind of etiquette, a very nice etiquette. But I found when I was in Salzburg that it was a very international group. We had Americans, Japanese, Austrians, Italians, everything, and everyone got on really well because if you're unified by a philosophy, a musical idea, you all belong to that family, and you all just fall in because you believe in it. I think believing in something brings people together rather than their own, I'm English, I do it this way. I mean, I'm British completely, and English not really, half Italian, half Hungarian, studied in Austria, etc., etc. So I'm very European.
Right. Well, we covered some really interesting topics there. I think we're just going to come to our final questions that we ask everyone. And the first one is, what's the best piece of advice you received during your career?
Wow, gosh.
This is the same response that we get off everyone. Actually, I think
that's really
we probably
such
should have
a
given you that
hard
in
one.
advance. Actually,
yeah. Best bit of advice. I don't know. I can't really answer that
That's
one
okay.
because I've been given lots of good advice, but nothing that made a huge change in me, like an overnight, oh my goodness, revelation. I think it's an incremental thing, having good influences around. Be open. I think people always say, keep experimenting. So don't, if you're good at something, don't shut the doors to trying a lot of other things, trying a lot of mediums. So if you're, soloist, do chamber music, do orchestra, do all sorts of things. So keeping open. Whether it was advice or it was just the good example of the musicians that I came across, who were just very open and free and put themselves at risk, took risks, not put themselves at risk, took risks and challenge. You have to keep challenging yourself and not find yourself in a safe path. It's very, very easy. Play safely because you'll do well. I think, and that's what college is for. You can really mess about.
That's true.
But not during your recital. I think you have to come to some decisions about what and how you're going to play.
Oh, I know.
That was very sound advice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sound. Now, we have our second hardest question, which we probably should have given you in advance as well.
Okay.
So, obviously, you're a teacher, so we work with young people who are going off into the industry. Our question is, what do you think has changed about the industry and how can musicians today adapt?
Well, are there so many jobs out there? Is a question, So I think that it's tightening. I think it's not like tons of jobs out there, and therefore that brings you to diversify. Do a lot of things. Don't do as much as you can. Like all violinists should play the viola and vice versa. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I've got my module exam soon, actually.
Are you doing viola then?
Yeah,
oh, brilliant. Yeah. Because why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Exactly,
There's no kind of thing like, oh, you can't, if you're that, you can't do that. That's rubbish.
Yeah.
That's it, rubbish. Actually, I have to tell you what, I never ever studied with a viola teacher. Never had a lesson with a viola teacher. Oh, apart from William Primrose once.
Oh.
I've heard of William Primrose.
Yeah, he was a very hot viola player. Yeah. But I mean, that's it. And one masterclass. But that was it, really. And I didn't feel, I've got to play to someone who really understands it. In fact, my teacher, he didn't know the viola repertoire, So the night before my lessons, he'd say, all right, give me the Bartok concerto or the Brahms, and he would take the music and just look at it and get to know it for my sake, so that he had... But then he just was the musician.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, sounds like a great teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, he was great.
And the final one is, what is your personal favourite performance or maybe a recording of a piece you'd like students to listen to? Because we're compiling a playlist from all our interviews.
Well, I tell you what, David, when I first heard music at all, the first record I ever heard was David Oistrakh, and I think it was Jan Polsky, the pianist, playing the Beethoven sonatas. And it was just so beautiful, so cultured, so intelligent, so lovely. So I would seek out those older musicians. Oistrakh, absolutely.
Good.
Actually,
It's
yeah.
a very good answer, yeah. I mean, we've had some riff-raff kind of answers. Some bit here, bit here, but that's very direct, so thank you for that. But yeah, so that'll bring us to the end of our Conservatoire Conversations, episode 4. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being our interviewee today. We'll see you in the next episode.